Welcome back to History in Motion, proudly brought to you by Midas.
Before the break, I asked you a quick question. When and where did Jody Scheckter make his Formula One debut? The answer is 1972 at Watkins Glen. He got as high as third place in a McLaren before spinning and finishing ninth.
The Sabat Lotus Challenge guys and girls turned out in their numbers, ready to take to the track for the first race of the season. Some newcomers joining in on the fun as well.
I'm very nervous, I don't know the track. It's very difficult for me, but I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. It's the nicest guys. The people around here are very good people, friendly, helpful. It's a very nice bunch of people.
What a buzz, fantastic fun. I recommend it to anybody to come and have a go. I've always been interested in cars, and this was just a really cheap way of coming racing. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's an inexpensive way to come racing. Obviously, look, when the faster guys catch you up, and I've done the maths on it, so I'm figuring at about lap 6 or something, they'll be bearing down on me. But and I'm going to have to be obviously very careful for that. But it'll be okay. It'll be okay.
Jeff Gable will lead the huge field of Lotuses off the start line, alongside him Rob Gearing. James Forbes and Jeffrey Kruger fill up row 3, with Chris Woolley and Sean Hewitt on row 5. Lights are on, lights are off, and away they go! And a clean start here by the field as they run into turn 1. Jeff Gable in the lead with Rob Gearing behind. Stratham, Nell and Forbes 3 abreast into turn 1. Kruger right behind them, into turn 2, and Kruger moves ahead of Stratham. Jeff Gable making the most of his pole position and pulling a slight gap on the field already. Jeffrey Kruger chasing down James Forbes in the red and white Lotus in front of him. Forbes just ahead of Kruger, and Kruger working hard to stay with him as they make their way onto the back straight. Flat out, all the way to sunset. Into the S as they drop. Forbes, Kruger and Stratham nose to tail. Stratham pushing hard and applying the pressure to Kruger. Kruger meanwhile is focused on Forbes as he moves to the left and takes the inside line. Kruger makes it past Forbes and comes out ahead as they accelerate down the mine shaft. Coming out of turn 13, and Jeff Gable is coming under pressure from Rob Gearing. Gearing challenging for the lead, has a look down the inside, heading into turn 14. He hugs the apex and moves across. He's made it past Gable. Gable comes back though, and the pair run side by side down the straight. Gable moves ahead and retakes the lead into turn 1. Gearing hasn't given up though, and manages to stick with Gable. Retirement there for Juan de Toy, smoke coming out of his car. Gable and Gearing still at it. Gearing looks down the inside and runs alongside Gable as they go round the old West Bank and head down the mine shaft. Johan Nell has a great view of this battle. Gearing watches as Gable moves ahead of him as they near the bottom of the mine shaft. Gearing looks to come back at Gable into the bowl, having a look on the inside. He isn't close enough this time round. Down the start-finish straight, line astern come Andre Darfel, Ken Cloud and Sean Allen and James Forbes, who after a visit to the pits will be looking to make up some ground on the leaders again. Sean Allen coming under pressure from Forbes, now heading into turn 3. Further back, Ben Knight is finding his car to be a handful as he goes round the final bend and chases down Fridge Findlay. Making his pass on the straight, Knight shakes his head. As to his left though, we see D'Abru pass both him and Findlay. Into turn 1 and Knight and Findlay jostle for position. Knight manages to keep ahead of Findlay and secure his position. In the bowl, and Jeff Gable has found himself in a bit of traffic as the closing stages of the race draw in. Gearing and Nell make their way cleanly through as well, passing rookies Tinus Bronkhorst and Philip Adicott on their way to turn 13. Gable still managing to maintain a relatively comfortable lead as Nell is all over the back of Gearing heading into the final bend. On board with Adicott now as he makes his way around turn 14, keeping nice and wide to let the faster car of Jeffrey Kruger through. Rob Gearing and Johan Nel still running closely on the track as they head round the first couple of bends. On board with Andres Letnik as he makes his way past the number 44 machine of James Derbyshire. A great battle is going on between this pair down in 14th position. Derbyshire is not going to let Letnik drive away from him and is ensuring Letnik knows he is behind him and looking for a way back past. On the back straight and heading towards Sunset, Letnik is flat out. Derbyshire, though, just has a little bit more as he goes round the outside of Sunset and takes his position back. Following him through is Connor Jones. Letnik will not be happy with this turn of events. Our race leader, Jeff Gable, makes his way around turn 14 and will be looking for the checkered flag as he heads down the main straight. Gable has run a great race and will be really pleased with this result. Rob Gearing held on to take second with Johan Nel in third. Further back, Connor Jones has managed to get past James Derbyshire and Andres Letnik has not given up on passing Derbyshire. Letnik puts the power down and floors it to the line, determined to pass Derbyshire and take the position. A clearly elated Letnik finishes 0.1 of a second ahead of Derbyshire. Confirmation of the results with Jeff Gable taking the first win of the year, Chris Woolley taking Class X honours, Sean Allen Class C and Andre Duplessis Class L.
We just went out, had some fun. Being in Class C, I had to maintain a certain speed, so we just caught each other and had tons of fun.
Great battle, a lot of changing in position, a lot of blocking, a lot of hard stuff. I think with the Class B car, I had a bit of an advantage on the straights, as we saw near the end, and especially down the pit straight. And that's where I used the car to its maximum. But then, of course, youth and...
Two big, shiny, round somethings came into play.
James was waving at someone down the pit straight as he went down. And the race ends when they pass the flag.
These things happen. But we should be close to each other on the grid for next race. Yeah. So race 2, here we go again.
I had a good start off the line and then I managed to get ahead of James Forbes. And then it's just pretty much maintaining the gap towards the others. And I was trying my best to catch the front bunch, but it was very difficult. But I must say it's a great day here today. Great for the live streaming. And it's really wonderful to be a part of the historic tour. To be honest, I would have favored the wet conditions, would have suited the car a bit more better. But yeah, I'm starting P5 on the grid, so it's going to be a very interesting race.
With the rain coming down, the decision was made to start race 2 with a lap behind the safety car in order to give the drivers a chance to come to grips with the track conditions. The safety car comes into the pits and racing will be underway shortly. Jeff Gable leads the field onto the start-finish straight, followed by car number 68 of Rob Gearing and Jeffrey Kruger in the number 76. Behind them, getting a bit crossed up in the wet, is Glenn Clark. The green flag waves and we are racing. The cars charge down to turn 1. We see Sean Hewitt making a move on Chris Woolley. He slips down the inside and takes the position. Into the S's, it's James Forbes ahead of Chris Woolley, Sean Allen and Ken Cloud. Up at the top of the hill, Gearing and Kruger are side by side. Kruger goes around the outside of Gearing. Great move by Kruger to make that stick. He now goes after Gable. Round turn 13 and you can see the rooster tails coming off the wheels of the Lotuses as they head towards turn 14. Gable goes off and into the wall, and that's his race over. Front suspension broken, Jeff Gable out, and that was all on his own. Heavy damage to his Lotus. Number 71, Dhiraj Maharaj recovers back onto the track after a spin at the top of the hill. Side by side, Andre Darfel and James Forbes race through turn 1 and onto turn 2. Darfel winning that battle for now. Andre Duplessis looks to be having a good run in the rain as he races up the inside of Ken Cloud, and the pair run side by side through Sunset. Very close racing here, but Cloud looks to have a slight advantage as they head up to Clubhouse. After his off, Dheeraj Maharaj decided to call it a day and brings it into the pits. At the top of the hill, James Derbyshire has found a way past Duplessis and is lining up Ken Cloud. Duplessis goes down the inside of Derbyshire, but Derbyshire has the power down the mine shaft and passes Cloud as well. You can see just how tricky things are out on the track, with all the spray getting thrown into the driver's face in these open cars. Into turn 14, and Sean Allen is ahead of James Forbes. The rain seems to have eased off slightly, and hopefully this will improve the track conditions. Chris Woolley in 5th position leads Sean Allen, James Forbes and James Derbyshire over the line. Behind them, Ken Cloud and Andre Duplessis having a battle of their own and rounding out the top 10. On board of the Duplessis now, and there is someone slowing on the left. It's James Derbyshire, and I'm not sure what exactly is going on there. Andres Letnick and Connor Jones running side by side into turn 1. Letnick moves across and closes the door on Jones into turn 2. Jones takes the outside line and heading towards 3 and 4, holds his nerve and makes the pass. Andre Duplessis coming into the bowl. Sean Allen ahead of him. Duplessis takes the inside line and makes the pass. The track is still rather tricky in the wet. Up the hill, Rob Gearing leads Glenn Clark in the battle for second place. They're coming up to some back markers, and this could make things rather interesting. On board with Gearing now, and we see one of the back markers go off, possibly Fridge Findlay. Hopefully he didn't make contact with the barriers. Gearing coming up on rookie Philip Adicott as they head into the bowl. Clark goes past Adicott as well as they make their way through the bowl. And it's Jeffrey Kruger who takes the checkered flag, having run an absolutely faultless race, and in these wet conditions no less. The battle for second place makes its way around the final bend. Glenn Clark a bit out of shape there, and that leaves Rob Gearing to drive his car to the finish line and take second. Clark will finish in third. Great race from the pair. Comfortable victory for Jeffrey Kruger, 26 seconds ahead of Rob Gearing. Gearing 0.8 of a second ahead of Glenn Clark in the end. Great racing through the field in the tricky wet conditions.
Oh, it's just managing the car in the wet. There's standing water all over the place, so it was very, very slippery. It was just a matter of trying to keep the car on the track, because as soon as you go off, everyone's going to mob you.
Well, my car's not really ideal in the wet because it's very stiff, but I got a good start. Jeffrey Kruger, I must admit, he rode a really amazing race. Had a go with Jeff. Jeff finally maybe cracked a bit under the pressure, but he put it in the wall, which was unfortunate for him. And then Glenn and I had a really good dice towards the end of the race. I think he was faster than me. I think he was probably kind to me. Thank you, Glenn. But I mean, we both had a finish, and that's what we did. So pretty cool fun, yeah. And we wet, properly wet.
The Midas Historic Tour will be back after the break with action from a rather wet Liqui Moly endurance race.